I mean, I think it's tough. I think a lot of guys have. I think from where we started to where we are now, the individuals have taken steps and it's helped the overall development of our team. So I'd be, a little remiss to just pick out one guy because so many guys have grown in so many different ways and help impact this team.
So what if I pick a guy out for you? So
Go for it. There you go. That makes it
what
easy.
About, let's go with Isaac in terms of the growth that he's made and clearly adding a skill set to his game that is so much better than it was, last season.
Yeah, I think, Isaac is, he's just such an awesome dude that every single thing he does is to try to help the team be better. So even when he's working on an individual skill set, he's working on that skill set because he knows it's going to help the team be a better basketball team. He knows how much we need him on the floor, and if there was something that was going to play him off the floor, he wasn't going to allow that to continue to be a weakness of his. So he put the time in, did whatever it took to become a better spot shooter for sure. But then to have the confidence and growth to be a playmaker that he's always had the capabilities of being, but he knew he needed to take that step to help this team be a better basketball team. So again, it's just a tribute to the type of person he is, the teammate he is, the work ethic he has. You know what I mean? And again, we're extremely fortunate to have him with us.
And then today, George will play in his 82nd game. I think there's maybe 15 guys right now that have played in every game this year. As a coach who also likes guys that just are available, what does it mean to have?
I was actually going to hold George out today, so he couldn't play in his 82nd game. No, he is again being a professional, and not only do you play, has he played or will play in all 82 games? Like he hasn't missed a day of practice or whatever it is that we've done. He's been there every single day, and again, I think that's deserves high praise in today's league, where he's a guy who just knows how important it is to be available. And want to be available and play in all 82 games. I think there's just a consistency to it, to his approach, work ethic, how he takes care of himself, all those things, toughness that he plays through certain things. I enjoy that, and watching that process, and obviously getting to know him and the type of person he is and how he impacts his teammates. All that stuff has been fun this year. You good, AC? Come on in.
Chris.
Hey, JB.
What's up, Chris?
How are you approaching today's game?
Business as usual.
Okay. So are you playing your starters, the ones that are available, as much as possible?
I think everybody will get an opportunity to play. But again, we're going to go out with the approach and try to play Cavaliers basketball to the best of our ability. And then, we'll tinker with lineups and give, guys an opportunity who haven't gotten as much opportunity. I wouldn't expect our guys to play 30-plus minutes, the guys who typically play high minutes, but enough to give them a little bit of burn, help them maintain a rhythm.
A number of months ago, when it was the play-in tournament and all of that stuff was going on, you had guys on the sidelines with you with their iPads monitoring scores and stuff like that. With some stakes still up for grabs in the Eastern Conference in terms of playoff seeding and whatnot, are you going to have your coaches monitoring the scoreboard and things like that?
Yeah, we'll be aware of what's going on.
Coach Jared Allen has talked about the label that you guys have had this season, especially after last season's playoffs, about not being tough. How do you measure toughness?
I think it's measured in your actions and not your words, and it's not measured in what other people's perceptions of you are. Toughness is a frame of mind. It's how you approach extremely difficult situations and difficult things. Like the NBA is an extremely difficult thing. An NBA season is an extremely difficult thing. And how you approach that and how you handle the ups and downs and how you carry your emotions and all those things. Like if you stay above that, right, and you show up every single night, like that is the mental toughness piece that we talk about. And that I believe our guys have displayed this year. Then there's the actual act of toughness, right? It's the 50-50 things. It's the doing all the dirty work that other people don't want to do. It's how you become a good defensive team. Like you can't be a good defensive team in this league and not be tough, right? You have to have some sort of a grit to you because, again, you're going against the best offensive players on the planet every single night. If you don't have toughness, you don't accept those challenges and go after guys and try to slow them down and do all the things that matter most. You don't continue to make the right rotations and the right effort plays and those types of things. So for us, it's a picture of mental and physical things that we can see it as it's happening and know that our guys have improved at it or bought into it.
Have you seen growth from guys that were here last year in that aspect? And do you think having guys like Max Strus and George Niang and Tristan Thompson and Marcus Morris has helped in that aspect as well?
Yeah, I think the game the other night versus Indiana was a great sign for our guys. The way that they played, the way that they competed, the way that they attacked and were aggressive from the beginning of the game, to me showed huge signs of growth. And an understanding of how you need to compete in the moment when the games matter most, because that was a game that we needed to win. And I watched our guys respond. So I definitely think that the guys who were here last year have improved in that area. And also, like when you bring in, Max and George and Marcus and Tristan, we kind of make this joke about it all the time, but it's like when you go to the park with your big brother, you're always much more confident. You know what I mean? You talk a little more shit because your big brother's there to protect you. So that's kind of the feel that those guys provide for our guys to give them that little boost of confidence also.
Thank you.
Joe, you said that today was business as usual, but there are three pretty big players who are going to rest today, and the 2 seed is up for grabs still. So can you talk through a little bit the weighing of rest versus what you could get?
Yeah, and it's not rest, right? Those guys have things that they're dealing with that we're trying to protect over the long term. So it's not guys who are just taking today off, right? Darius has been dealing with some stuff, Donovan obviously, and Karras as well. So that was the thinking going into it is, if we can give them yesterday and today and get out throughout this week, hopefully by Saturday or Sunday, whenever it is that we play, that's an advantage for us. So that was the thinking beyond that. And then the guys who are playing, we're still monitoring big picture stuff. And, again, we will go out and we will compete our tails off to make sure, whatever may happen, because so much is out of our control. So it's not something where we're going in saying, hey, we need to do this or we need to do that, because we don't control the outcome. There's so many other teams that have their own plans and own minds that they're trying to make up. So we're going out and trying to compete our tails off and see what happens.
And then from a big picture perspective, coming into this year, the league office, Adam Silver especially, really wanted to make the regular season mean more. There was an in-season tournament, there was the edict to get rid of the load management, all that, even the All-Star game, which didn't work out. But all these things, I'm wondering if you feel like there's a correlation between them and the end of a regular season where there's so much up for grabs. It's like, it almost like it feels like the regular season meant something.
Yeah, I mean, and I know sometimes it's hard to separate our fans from us in the game and what the perception of it is, because for us, the regular season means a lot. You know what I mean? We're in it so thick, and every game matters. We don't take stress relief games off, right? Every single game is the same amount of intensity and pressure and effort and all those things that we put into it. So, but what I will say is, and I don't know if this is because of all the, in-season changes or whatever it may be, or if it's because I think the league is in a really good place as far as the depth of talent. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, that this is the year with the most amount of teams over 500. Right, so I think the level of competition from top to bottom through the league is so good now and so well balanced that the games are more engaging, right? You are very rarely now looking at your schedule okay, this is, you know what I mean? Every opponent that you show up, you're okay, we better be ready. And I think that makes the games mean more and fans be able to engage more because the competition is so much higher as well.
Nate. JB, I think it's been a little while since you talked about Sam Merrill. Do you expect to have him available for the playoffs?
We're hopeful. Yeah, he's making progression. Just still some things that affect his shot from a soreness standpoint. So we just want him again to get healthy so that he can be comfortable being who he is.
And then I know you just talked Friday, but anything new on Wade, or still? in the same
Nothing new
spot?
on Dean Wade. Yeah, still waiting to see.
Spencer Davis, Guys Insider. Friday, obviously a celebratory mood. You make the playoffs, all that. Flip the page, you get to now and going towards the playoffs. Max and Donovan were talking about how that's the bare minimum. I'm assuming you're in the same mind frame as soon as that night's over. And how much of a luxury is it to have guys talk like that, knowing that there's a bigger goal in mind?
I mean, that's the experience of guys who have been there, right, and had that feeling of, you know, what the second round, what the finals, all those things feel like. And when you get to that point, like, you always just want more, because, you know, as you're coaching, playing, each step that you take and you feel that next step, right, it doesn't compare to the one that's before it. And you just go thirsting for that more and more. So, you know, one, to have guys who can say it, two, to have guys who have been there, and then three that, you know, you have guys who can lead and show an example of how to do it when it matters most, is extremely impactful for our group. So, you know, it's just those, you know, you mentioned those two, but you throw the Tristans in the world, the Marcus Morrises, the Georges, like guys who have been there and done it, they're all saying the same thing. And, you know, that brings belief in our group that they can accomplish it, because they also know they have guys who know how.
And kind of jumping off of what he was talking about, George specifically talked about how guys, it's human nature that you play your best when your back's against the wall. Do you feel like they can carry that element going towards the playoffs and knowing that there's still some adversity to be faced here?
Yeah, you got no choice, right? Because every opponent that you face is kind of feeling the same way. Every opportunity is an elimination opportunity, you know, every round. So you have to play that way, because, again, like, nobody wants to go home. So everybody's going to be out there laying it all out there, you know, and that's what makes the playoffs so much fun and the competition so high.
Sure. One more on Dean Wade. Is he doing anything, or?
Yeah, I mean, he's done like light shooting and things like that. You know, he's working on the Ultra G, which is the, you know, the anti-gravity treadmill and those types of things. So he's making progress. But again, we'll just see every day how it improves, and then, you know, the medical staff will make a final decision.